The largest volunteer army in the world was the British Indian Army, where 2.5 million Indians volunteered. They saw it as much as an Indian war as a British war. That's why it's called the Second World War. And I am British, and I put this thesis forth towards you silly, unwashed Indians. The largest volunteer army in the world. This is what people in the UK still apparently believe. Hmm? Volunteers. See, in India, during the British occupation of India, during the brutal, genocidal, barbaric British occupation of India, Indians were impoverished to the nth degree. There was no means of sustaining yourself and of sustaining your family unless you worked for the oppressor. Without a government job, there was no stability, no future, no security in life. They had stolen all the land, so nobody owned land. In the past, when people owned land, they could farm, they could do whatever they want. And the British had also destroyed all of India's indigenous industries. India was the first ever fully industrialized civilization. The British completely deindustrialized India. So all the people who had all these incredible skills which ran in the family from generation to generation, everything was wiped out, and their entire livelihoods were uprooted, destroyed. The livelihood that their family had been part of for dozens, maybe hundreds of generations was destroyed. So there is no industry anymore, there is no agriculture anymore. So if you want to have food on the table for you and your family, you had to work for the government. So then they would employ Indians as clerks or as soldiers. So just to stay alive, just to provide for your family, lots of Indians had to become soldiers in the British Army. They didn't volunteer. They had no choice. You see, this was not an Indian war. This was a European war. It was a useless, needless war perpetrated on the world by the Europeans for their own petty squabbles, you and your Hitler and whatnot, and you made us fight on your behalf. So that's what it was. Nobody volunteered for this. The Indians who fought had no choice. They were fighting for their families. They were fighting to put food on the table. They didn't give a damn about your cause. It was not our war. And it's sad that these people who still have these feelings of superiority, they come up and put these comments over here in front of us. I mean, just take a look at the state of the UK today. You people who live in the UK should be ashamed of yourselves. Absolutely, you should be ashamed of yourselves, of what you have allowed to happen to your country. Your women aren't safe in your country today. And you people aren't even able to ensure their security. We know what the Pakistanis have been doing to your women. And you people just sat and let this happen. You should be ashamed of yourselves, you British people. And you have the gall to come here and talk all this and say all this over here. Please.